You're tuned into DecayMag podcast, online source for horror, thriller and sci-fi entertainment news.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our next installment for DecayMag podcast. This is season 5, episode 3. My name is Ken Artuz, founder and editor for DecayMag.com. I will be serving as host for this week's podcast. Please visit our website at DecayMag.com. We are also available across all social media platforms: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Just simply search DecayMag and you could find our content across the sites. And also we are on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Music. In this episode, Sevé Schelenz, director and producer, will be making the announcement for the 5 winners for the DVD for his film Peelers. So stay tuned for that. Before that, we have some very exciting and interesting news across the board for horror films, our trailer reviews, first impressions, and also we have some news on television. Without further ado, here's our podcast.
Fede Alvarez, Simon Barrett, Jason Eisener developing thriller.
Fede Alvarez burst onto the horror scene with his directorial debut and remake to Evil Dead. In 2016, Alvarez teamed with 2013 Evil Dead team to create Don't Breathe. In February 2017, the Uruguayan film director formed his own production company called Bad Hombre, in connection with independent film production company Good Universe. Alvarez Film Company was established to focus on creating horror, thriller, and science fiction driven films. An undisclosed films is now in the work for Bad Hombre's first release. According to The Hollywood Reporter, the film is described as a techno thriller. Although the synopsis, title, and cast are kept on the wraps at this point, here's what we know at this time. Director Jason Eisener will helm the concept. Eisener is a well-known figure in the horror community. His contributions include the exploitation-themed film Hobo with the Shotgun, which was released in 2011, and the anthology segments Y is for Young Buck for the ABCs of Death, Slumber Party Alien Abduction for VHS 2. Eisener also served as editor for the 2015 anthology horror film Southbound. Simon Barrett will write the screenplay for this yet-to-be-named and disclosed project. Barrett is no stranger to the horror genre, with his film credits that extend over 16 years. It is no surprise Barrett is on board to pen the Americanization to the South Korean thriller I Saw the Devil. Barrett's prior credits include the terrible 2016 release Blair Witch Film, the memorable 2014 thriller The Guest, and the fantastic and my personal favorite, the 2011 home invasion film You're Next. Barrett also has credits in the anthology horror film sector, with segments Tape 56, The Sick Thing That Happened to Emily When She Was Young, this is for VHS, and also the segment Phase 1 Clinical Trial, and Tape 49 for VHS 2. Q is for Quack for the ABCs of Death. Fede Alvarez and Drogo Sayagüez of Bad Hombre will produce. Nathan Kahane and Joe Drake and Aaron Westerman of Good Universe will executive produce alongside Jay Basu. As stated, there is no further information for Bad Hombre's first thriller. stay tuned for DecayMag for more information on this project as it becomes available. In my opinion, this project is going to be stellar. You have a powerhouse of filmmakers and film visionaries on board to ensure a intriguing and grossing product. Fede Alvarez also is a shining product and a testament to the Latino community and Latino influences in horror cinema. I can't wait for more news to develop, especially a trailer for this techno thriller film.
Fabio Frizzi to perform in New York City this October.
Fabio Frizzi is a horror icon for his respected contributions to the genre. For those unaware, Frizzi is an Italian film composer with work spanning over 40 years. His music compositions are found in many cult horror films such as the 1979 release Zombie, the 1980 release City of the Living Dead, the 1981 release The Beyond, and the more recent House of Forbidden Secrets, which was released in 2013. On October 29th and October 30th, New York-based horror enthusiasts would have the opportunity to hear many of Frizzi's works performed live with an orchestra. Below is an excerpt from the official press release. Ship to Shore are presenting the New York City debut of legendary Italian horror film soundtrack composer Fabio Frizzi and his 8-piece band on October 29th and October 30th at Music Hall of Williamsburg. On October 29th, Frizzi would perform his brand new expanding composer's cut of Italian horror icon Lucio Fulci's cult classic The Beyond. The live score will be accompanied by a screening of the original uncut version of the film. On October 30th, he will be performing live suites for Fulci's seminal films, including Zombie 2, 7 Notes in Black, The Beyond, etc., with images from these films. For ticket information, please refer to the article accompaniment for this podcast episode. Visit DecayMag and search Season 5, Episode 3 for more information. This event is an excellent opportunity for horror enthusiasts both young and old. Italian horror films are a staple in the genre, with most exploiting very violent imagery, exploitation thematics, and scenes that in today's standards would never make it into the cinemas. The music composition provided will also have that sense of appreciation and sense of modernization to these classic horror films. Fabio Frizzi is a notable film composer, and his music style has provided influence to many horror films today in some way, shape, or form, and I believe in video games as well. This is an event not to be missed. It's in Brooklyn. For us, it's a train ride away. It is almost in our backyard, and it falls on October 29th and October 30th, which is in the holiday season. So if you have no plans to go into the Halloween parade or Halloween party, this serves as a good educational and visual audio experience.
The Weinstein Company delays Polaroid film.
In 2015, the horror short film Polaroid made waves in the horror community. Blending aspects from J-horror aesthetics and thematics, Polaroid delivered a satisfactory dose of supernatural flair. After the positive reception Polaroid received, Norwegian director Lars Klevberg would go on to direct the full-feature adaptation for his horror film short. This project will also mark his feature directorial debut. The film already completed principal photography and was scheduled to release August 2017, the 25th of August to be exact. Yet, as is expected with Hollywood executives and their control, Polaroid was pushed further down into the 2017 calendar year. Klevsberg's release now has a December 1st debut. The Weinstein Company, in conjunction with Dimension Films, are notorious for delaying the release of horror films. Prior to Polaroid, Amityville: The Awakening and All the Boys Love Mandy Lane suffered monumental delays. With the latter, the film lingered in oblivion for almost over a year. Polaroid is Hollywood's second attempt to bring an indie horror short to the big screen. In 2016, New Line Cinema released Lights Out, based on the horror short film with the same name released in 2013. For the fate of Polaroid and its release, it's only a waiting game at this point. Horror enthusiasts would have to wait and see what the final decision holds. The synopsis for Polaroid reads as follows. Two girls are moving out after Sarah's mother has passed away. In the clearing, they exploit an old camera possessed by a dark past. Check out the trailer for Polaroid in the article accompaniment for this podcast. Visit DecayMag and search Season 5, Episode 3 for more information. In my opinion, Hollywood has lost its flair and lost its creativity when it comes to horror films. With the slate of reboots and remakes, horror films from the mainstream circuit does not have that effect as it had 10, perhaps 20 years ago. By delaying such films such as Polaroid, Amityville: The Awakening, and All the Boys Love Mandy Lane, it just sets that instinct that there is no sense of care, there's no sense of craft, there's no sense of delivering good horror content for the community. And in most times, they extract indie horror shorts and they mutilate it. The 2016 release, Lights Out, is a perfect example of this atrocity. The short film, gained critical acclaim for its creepy factor. In just its short running time, it had the example of a good horror film, but it went to development in Hollywood, and the full feature adaptation was full of cornucopia of cliches. The acting was horrendous, and the antagonizing force was nothing but a ripoff from the witch out of the Left 4 Dead video game series. With that said, Hollywood they don't know about horror cinema anymore. They don't have any hope for this genre. It has become a marketing tool. That's why the R rating system has transformed into PG-13. It's only to complement a wider audience, and this in turn dilutes the filmmaker's vision for his craft. The indie film platform is the perfect stage for filmmakers to project their vision, whether it is in a short film or full feature production. The film festival circuit, with its run, you could garner slate of acclaim and also awards. Recognition such as this is what propels the horror cinema and horror visions forward. Once you have Hollywood's infusion into your craft, everything gets basically torn apart, exploited, all for dollars and cents. Amityville The Awakening, All the Boys Love Mandy Lane, and Polaroid all suffered delays. The production company just didn't have faith in these projects. On that note, it remains to be seen what influences Hollywood had in the development for Polaroid. Although the horror short did exemplify cliches, especially with the J-horror type style, it should be added that the short was creative in its own right. Let's see if the full feature production does execute that idea.
Srdjan Spasojevic to direct WhereOut.
As we covered in DecayMag Podcast Season 4, Episode 6, a Serbian film is scheduled for a re-release as an uncut version. While this news sounds as an example of an oxymoron, there is a more insightful news-worthy content surrounding the director for a Serbian film. In closing out our movie segment to this podcast, we present news on Srdjan Spasojevic's upcoming supernatural horror film, WhereOut. The film would mark the second production for Serbia-based production company Contra Films. WhereOut will be distributed by U.S. independent film distributor company On Earth Films. Spasojevic will direct and co-write the screenplay, with Alexander Radiojevic as co-writer. The synopsis to WhereOut reads as follows. WhereOut is a supernatural bare-knuckle western about a man determined to face mighty powers to protect the woman he loves. Driven onward by the sheer power of his own will, he fights through unknown worlds to defend the small town remaining tract of the utopian paradise. As the unrelenting battle unfolds, so strong is his pursuit and so furious is his resistance that the universe itself would tremble. That's a powerful synopsis. Stay tuned to DecayMag for more developments on WhereOut as it becomes available. This is exciting news, especially since it has been a while since we've heard anything from Srdjan Spasojevic's credits. A Serbian film was... you cannot put a description to this film. It was vulgar, it was horror, it was thriller, and it stands as a testament of a twisted creative mind. In saying that, WhereOut seems to delve on the supernatural action western. According to the synopsis, it just throws everything, including the kitchen sink. I am interested to see the development of this film. It seems to be a stark contrast from a Serbian film. Perhaps this new upcoming project, WhereOut, will be something along the lines of blood and gore, but action-oriented. Sort of like what you'll expect from an exploitation film. Of course, this does fall into the category from the independent film distributor On Earth Films. But of course, it all remains to be seen.
Peeler's DVD winners announced.
Earlier this month, DecayMag featured a DVD giveaway for the newly released horror film Peelers. DecayMag was one of the few horror news outlets selected to provide the first reviews for this film. Do check out our thoughts on Peelers by visiting DecayMag. Type in Peelers in the search option. We also featured a set of exclusive interviews in DecayMag Podcast Season 3, Episode 8, with Peelers director-producer Sevé Schelenz and actress Wen Walker. Walker portrays the lead Blue Jean, or BJ. Don't say BJ. In this segment, Peeler's director-producer Sevé Schelenz will announce the 5 winners to receive a DVD copy of 4 Peelers. All winners will be contacted via email for your mailing addresses. Please stand by for that information, and we will be sending out those DVDs right away. Without further ado, here is Peeler's director-producer Sevé Schelenz with the winning announcers. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ken Artuz, founder and editor for DecayMag.com, and joining me this afternoon is the director for Peelers, Sevé Schelenz. Thank you for joining me this afternoon.
Yeah, no problem, Ken. It's I'm happy to be here. Pretty stoked.
Great. And how are things going so far? The release of Peelers on DVD, Blu-ray.
Yeah, it's going great. As you said, we just had our release on July 4th, Independent Film Day. We released our DVD and Blu-ray, and so far so good. I hope your fans pick up the Blu-ray or the DVD. We have tons and tons of extras on it. We have deleted scenes, the teaser trailer, we got a gag reel behind the scenes, and a lot more, including some commentaries on both of them. So a lot of good items on there. We just had our VOD release in Canada as well on July 11th, and we're hoping for some more big announcements coming up soon.
Oh yeah, we look forward to it. And we were one of the first outlets to check out Peelers. I said to myself, I can't wait for the audiences to take a look at this film.
Yeah, you guys were definitely big supporters and still are today. And we've had an amazing run. We were hitting the festivals at the time that we hooked up with you guys and did a couple of interviews, and you guys have really plugged it away, and that's really helped our film. And since getting into all these fests, I think it got a little bit of a buzz and definitely bled right into distribution.
That's great. I'm always glad when a good film, a good indie film, just skyrockets. That really makes my day.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I've met so many filmmakers when I've hit the festivals, and you just see so many different films, and the talent out there is incredible. And when the audiences can actually see these films beyond the festivals, it's such a special thing. And talking to some of these filmmakers, even a year later after I met them, just hearing some of their stories is pretty cool.
Amazing stuff. And without further ado, before we have our listeners on the nerves, let's announce the 5 winners for the DVD for Peelers.
Yeah, you bet. Okay, I've got a list here of the winners. And so we have Don A. from Pico Rivera, California.
All right. Congratulations, Don.
Second winner is Jayme S. from Dubuque, Iowa.
Cool.
And it's funny because I actually might even know Jayme because we were in a festival in Dubuque. So I have a feeling this might be the same Jayme. He might have just got all over it. He actually he's seen the film recently, and he sent me an email. So he must have jumped on this contest. So that's quite funny.
That would be funny.
I think it's the same guy. I don't know how many Jayme S's there are in Dubuque, so that's pretty cool. Our third winner is Aliana from New York City, New York.
Amazing. All right. New York City.
And fourth is Robert K. from St. Catherine in Quebec. That's up here in Canada.
All right.
And our fifth winner is Cory C. from Erie, Pennsylvania.
Great. Congratulations to all the winners. And do expect an email soon because we will need, of course, some addresses to send out these DVDs.
Yeah, and again, I just want to say again that there's so many great extras on these DVDs. You guys are in for a real treat.
Great. And before we finalize this announcement, what's in the forecast? What do you have plans into the 2017-2018 calendar year?
Yeah, well, we're still in promo mode. As I mentioned before, we've got quite a few big announcements still to come. We have a couple other scripts we're working on for some films. We may or may not be sticking with the horror genre. This is our second horror feature. Skew was our first, Peelers being the second, and we're thinking of maybe dabbling a little outside of the horror genre. But having said that, I do have another project that is in the horror medium, so we're just going to kind of see what sticks and what we finish with first.
Great. Well, looking forward to the next entry into the horror genre. Peelers was it was fascinating. I'm a big, I wouldn't call it a zombie film. It's an infection film. There's a whole big debate in the horror community about it.
Yeah, for sure. I would actually call it an action horror film, and I would call it within the infection, I guess, subgenre. For sure, there is a big debate about the whole zombie thing. I think when it comes to those zombie films or these zombie films, and sort of the debate about it, if you understand the rules of it, I think you can sort of start to bend the rules and play with it. We never intended this to be a zombie film per se. When you create your own world within a film, as long as you follow the rules of that world, I think you're fine. And that's something we wanted to do.
Great. Amazing. And once again, thank you for your time in announcing these winners, and congratulations to all the winners.
Absolutely. Congrats to everybody. And thanks for having me on here, Ken.
Trailer reviews. It Comes at Night.
I think that Will and I should be the only ones who go outside for a while. We don't know what made Stanley sick. We don't know anything. Nobody touched him, so I think we're fine, right?
Positive. You just opened the door, right? You didn't go in.
I didn't touch the door. You didn't what?
It Comes at Night is directed by Trey Edward Schultz and is written by Trey Edward Schultz. The synopsis reads as follows. Secured within a desolate home, as an unnatural threat terrorizes the world, a man has established a tenuous domestic order with his wife and son. But this will soon be put to test when a desperate young family arrives seeking refuge. The trailer provides mystery and dread with its opening visuals and slow camera tracking across a darkened corridor. Not much is revealed for the plot and or the slate of characters involved. This is a wise decision, a perfect lure for the curious to watch the film. More information is found hidden in the synopsis. This holds true with the opening sentence, which states, "An unnatural threat terrorizes the world." This statement could signify any level of antagonizing external forces. For a more in-depth analysis, IMDb provides a nice slate of images to savor. One image finds actor David Pendleton on the layers of grotesque makeup design and black contact lenses. It's no surprise It Comes at Night conveys a post-apocalyptic viral outbreak theme. These films are timeless in design, any varying from high-tension action to deep psychological thrillers. The visuals presented in the trailer is limited, and the rapid collage presented within its final seconds are mind-numbing and terrible. Although the acting does seem solid from what it's gathered in the short dialogue exchanges. It Comes at Night has a Blu-ray combo pack and DVD release scheduled for September 12, 2017. Based on the trailer, it does not convey me, in my opinion, to watch this film. The lure does not apply into my interest. What does capture my interest are the synopsis and the slate of photographs provided on IMDb. It seems practical effects are predominant in this film, and that is a film concept, a film contribution that I appreciate, especially in the horror genre. It comes at night. I'm unsure if we're looking at a vampire or a zombie type infection. Of course, this is coming from a perspective. Once you delve into the film synopsis and the pictures and the trailer, you become aware of what concept this is. But for the sake of this presentation, I'm just keeping it out there. It could be vampires, it could be zombies. Anyways, I'm waiting for this film, so do stay tuned to DK Mag for our full review for It Comes at Night.
Sharknado 5, Global Swarming.
"2017. A world divided, with only one thing that can unite us all. No, not that.
Sharks. Why is it always gotta be sharks?
Yep, we're making America bait again.
This could be the last curtain call, not just for America, but for the world.
Sharknado 5, Global Swarming is directed by Anthony C. Ferrante and is written by Thunder Levin. He provided the characters, and Scotty Mullen. The synopsis reads as follows. With much of America lying in ruins, the rest of the world braces for a global Sharknado. Finn and his family must travel around the world to stop them. Sharknado, sci-fi's treasured B-movie creature feature, is back with another chapter to the growing franchise. Sharknado 5 Global Swarming is a long anticipated and will most likely break viewing records again for the science fiction themed network. The trailer is rich with terrible special effects, lackluster acting, and robotic cameos, and audiences will enjoy every moment of it. For starters, the trailer opens with references to the nation's current political state of affairs. How creative. Sci-Fi just jumped on the stage with practically every other entertainment outlet with this approach. Saturday Night Live, we're looking at you. I've never seen any of the Sharknado films, and I don't really intend to. This series does have a cult following that grows with every new installment. From the trailer, it seems the protagonist will venture to points of the world to try to put a stop to the global shark assault phenomena. There are references to an Egyptian site and hieroglyphics explaining this weird shark storm weather pattern. Although I'm uncertain how this affects the plot, this seems pretty far-fetched, but of course, we're talking about sharks in a tornado, and sci-fi's influences on creature features, which is at times mind-boggling. So it would be very interesting to see how this Egyptian history, the hieroglyphs, the history, all have impact on this Sharknado type weather environment pattern. This global swarming, as the subtitle puts it. In any event, it would be interesting to hear the water cooler conversations that would develop the day after Sharknado 5 Global Swarming releases. On that note, Sharknado 5 Global Swarming will debut Sunday, August 6th at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sci-Fi.
Fate.
Put the pan down. Who are you? I'm you, 2 years in the future. What I'm about to tell you will change the rest of your life. And the project you're working on regarding time travel will eventually work. The project will be a success, but the government will come in to shut it down anyway. That night, April is killed.
Next up in our trailer first impressions is the science fiction themed film Fate. This film is written and directed by Dan Sheldon. The synopsis reads as follows. After the government shuts down his project on time travel, a brilliant quantum physicist must find a way to continue his research in order to travel back in time and prevent his fiancée from being killed. Information on Fate is not available on IMDb. This was strange, considering that this is the first resource for any film project in development and or released. The writer and director Dan Sheldon is also non-existent on this movie database. Strange. The Fate trailer does well to explain the plot, production, and visual direction. Let's begin with the narrative. Fate is a typical time travel movie in which the protagonist must travel in time to prevent a disaster from happening. We've seen this countless times in countless films. This concept, Fate, does nothing different than what we have already seen before. One plot hole assessed with the opening scene from the trailer is the fact that the protagonist could have rescued his fiancée in his first time jump, but instead he decides to go to warn himself in the past for an event that's going to happen in the future. Confusing. In any event, the production value is placed front and center in the trailer. From the footage, viewers can assess the acting to be of B-movie quality, perhaps even subpar standards. The interaction both in dialogue and action sequences felt unnatural. The dividing aspects to these films are the hint of special effects used. Based on the footage, some of these scenes that included the special effects, it fared well. Examples of rendered effects and other scenes, however, it didn't quite work up to that higher standard. Fate does not convey as a time-dedicated viewing experience, and this can all be assessed by the trailer. As I had mentioned, the plot is already revealed. The production value, you have a glimpse of the acting, you have a glimpse of the action sequences, especially the fight scenes with the cheesy and campy sound effects when a blow hits a fist to the face. The visual direction is also in question. The director took a very basic approach to convey his message from script to screen. Fate, it has many cliches and the bad portrayals. I'll give this a pass. However, for those interested in watching, Fate will debut across major video on demand platforms including Amazon, Google, and Vimeo on the 15th of August 2017.
Awaken the Shadowman.
Adam, I need you to come home. Bring Emma and Beth.
You can go in there, honey. I'm with you.
Oh my god, she is so cute. Who are all those people that came over?
What are you doing here, boys?
Friends, mostly people from gateways.
That place and those people and Lawrence especially, just don't trust them.
Our next film for the trailer first impressions is titled Awaken the Shadowman. This film is directed by Jayme S. Wilson and is written by Skylar Caleb, Woodrow Wilson, Hancock III and James Zimbardi. The synopsis reads as follows. After the mysterious disappearance of their mother, estranged brothers reunite and discover an unknown supernatural force. This synopsis was taken off of IMDb. The newly released horror film from Gravitas Ventures is titled Awaken the Shadowman. The trailer begins as a haunted house film would. You have the normal, middle-class, young Caucasian couple, seemingly normal, is the house, yet it holds some deep dark secrets, and you could establish this from the camera angle in which the director presents this abode. Yet, as the trailer develops, we find that the plot shifts many times over, leaving the viewer perplexed by this slate of events. Infused into the plot is a morbid cult, a deadly apparition, and what appears to be possession, demonic, ghostly. We're unsure at this point. There's too much going on in this trailer, and perhaps in the plot itself. My question is, while viewing the trailer, is who is the antagonist? Is it the cult, or is it this creature, this apparition called the Shadowman? A viewing of the film would relay better answers and perhaps even make a clearer presentation of the narrative. Judged by the scenes, the acting does lurk into B-movie realm. The exchange of dialogue does not convey in a fluid, natural approach. With the special effects, the entity, the Shadow Man, it seems decent in execution. Yet the viewer gets a good view of this specter in the final frames for this trailer. It is at this point that these scenes that the rendering for this character looks rough and lacks that scare factor. In fact, it looks comical. Awaken the Shadowman, the trailer, does little to heighten interest for the film. I'd rather watch the film itself, but that itself is a gamble. I am unsure what is going on. As I had mentioned earlier, the synopsis reads, after the mysterious disappearance of their mother, estranged brothers reunite and discover an unknown supernatural force. Yet, when I watched the trailer, I did not see brothers. I did not see any mysterious disappearance of a mother. All I saw in the opening frame were these weird-looking people in a cult. You have an apparition, of course, and you have a young couple with a baby. Where are the estranged brothers reuniting? This is a confusing film. You have a writing team consisting of 3 people. It seems that 3 different ideas were tossed into the mix, and the director J.S. Wilson just did the best he could to bring this cornucopia of confusion into the forefront. In any event, the film does have that horror entertainment factor, and that is questionable. I'm on the fence on this. Awaken the Shadowman is now available on video on demand for those interested in seeing this film.
Television. AMC developing horror science fiction content.
Entertainment Weekly revealed stunning information on AMC's upcoming slate of television shows. AMC announced its slate of upcoming horror and science fiction related content. These projects are under development and will likely have additional content attached within the 2018 calendar year. And with additional content, I mean trailers, casting reveals, so on and so forth, etc., etc. With that said, expect to find numerous trickles of information across the board for each of these projects. Here are the slate of programming expected for AMC. Director Eli Roth will serve as executive producer for Visionaries, Eli Roth's History of Horror. Charlie Collier, president of AMC, Sundance TV, and AMC Studios, offered the following comment regarding this program. He said, I quote, AMC Visionaries is all about going deep into areas of fan passion. In addition to Robert Kirkman on comics or James Cameron on sci-fi, that AMC is going to be the home of Eli Roth's deep dive into horror makes perfect sense, given our decades-long commitment to the genre. He'll shed light on the stories and storytellers that keep us up at night. Director Eli Roth added the following, I quote, I'm thrilled to be part of this incredible series. For years, I wanted to create a definite history of horror, a living record of the genre with interviews from all the greats, old and new. Greg Nicotero will direct Shock Theater, a horror sci-fi anthology series. The program is said to pay homage to classic B-movie film. The third project is Underbelly, and this is another anthology, and this is spearheaded by Dan Connolly and Chris Hardwick's production company. For those unaware, Chris Hardwick serves as host for The Talking Dead. The theme for Underbelly will dive into the following. It will relate to the fan experience, celebrity, greed, alienation, obsession, and vanity. Underbelly, from the theme description, sounds familiar in the vein of Black Mirror. Another series slated for AMC is Wicked West. This is an anthology series, and the production is spearheaded by Jason Blum. The series is a non-fiction anthology that brings to life chilling tales from the days of the Wild West, including sadistic serial killers, murderous black widows, bloodthirsty family clans, and local legends laced with the supernatural. Intriguing theme. Liking What You See is a science fiction thriller based on Ted Chiang's short story. Eric Eisener penned the television adaptation. In this, residents of Saybrook who, quote, have voluntarily adopted calignosia, a reversible, non-invasive procedure that eliminates their ability to perceive beauty. Interesting concept. I would like to see how this evolves as a science fiction thriller. The Age of Miracles and Ballad of Black Tom rounds out AMC's slate for upcoming shows. The Age of Miracles follows a group of people who start to get mysteriously sick when the Earth's rotation begins to slow down. Ballad of Black Tom is about a street musician who unexpectedly enters a world when he delivers an object to sorceresses and uncovers a plan to destroy the world. This sounds familiar. I think I've seen something like this before with Sci-Fi's The Magician. In any event, it is great to see horror and science fiction themes coming onto the small screen. This goes to show that the genre, especially horror, has evolved into the mainstream, but it has presented itself as an original concept. These programming sound original, with his own distinct flavor, especially the anthology series. So far, we only have American Horror Story that conveys as an anthology series, and that itself is losing its will. Last year, we had a found footage type example with mixed results, and the marketing campaign for that season was to entice viewership with this mystery and false leads on what the plot could be. So seeing AMC taking the helm, providing more horror content, especially in anthology series, is most welcome. Greatly appreciate this. This does not fall into the remake, reboot category or rehashing filmed television series adaptation, which did not convey well. Take, for example, Hannibal, which despite its cult following was cancelled. You have Dracula, which did not last one season. And of course Fox with The Exorcist, which in recent news, the network stated that The Exorcist was going to go on for 7 seasons. I highly doubt that. It is only so far that you could push the envelope for that concept. How many people are going to be possessed by the devil? In any event, give us your thoughts on these upcoming slate of television shows that AMC is currently producing and will probably start hitting the small screen in, let's say, the latter part of 2018, early part of 2019.
Tales from the Crypt reboot update.
To conclude our coverage for horror on television, here is some insight, some updated news on Tales from the Crypt returning to TV. For those who may not be familiar, TBS and TNT made the announcement early this year, that Tales from the Crypt would be returning to television. M. Night Shyamalan was also scheduled to direct the series. As we all know, Tales from the Crypt had 93 episodes, which ran from 1989 to 1996 on HBO. Since then, reruns have been circulating across the web and on television as well, and it has gained a cult following. Some people are in favor of Tales from the Crypt returning to TV, while others, such as myself, should just let it stay where it's at. Here is the latest information for Tales from the Crypt. TBS and TNT Entertainment President and Turner Chief Executive Officer Kevin Reilly stated the following: "It's been fun with lawyers. It's been really fun. We did not know from the get-go, or else we would have not announced it and made a big deal out of it. But in fact, they were rights. It is among the most, if not the most complicated right structure I have ever seen in my career. And we had no idea as we got into it, it became a nightmare. So we said, fine, if and when this gets cleared up, we'll revisit." And what Kevin Reilly is stating is the legal rights issue surrounding the rights for Tales from the Crypt. There has been news circulating about the Crypt Keeper himself not appearing on the TV show, which is atrocious because it is a staple to this TV series. That's like you removing Elvira from whatever shows that she does. In any event, there are also other legal issues regarding the rights for Tales from the Crypt. There are many hands in this cookie jar, and TBS and TNT were not prepared. They figured, let's make an announcement, let's make a remake of Tales from the Crypt, everything is fine and dandy. That is not the way it works in the film industry, and everyone at this network should have known that. Here is another quote. The underlying rights to the classic vintage property are complicated. TNT and others have been pursuing a solution for more than a year, with significant progress being made. We look forward to the potential for further active development of this valuable franchise once the clearance process is fully resolved. Now the question is, if TBS and TNT went through all this trouble, legal costs, payments, across the board expenses, does the pros weigh the cons? Will Tales from the Crypt, especially with M. Night Shyamalan at the helm, will this succeed, or will it be an utter failure on the part of the network? This is a big gamble. In my opinion, I would steer away from these negotiations. Let Tales from the Crypt stay where it's at. Perhaps a movie adaptation as it was done before. That would be a great idea. A television revisiting? That's not so good, considering all these costs involved. M. Night Shyamalan has had a terrible track record. His latest film did well at the box office, and part 2, a sequel, is in the works. But aside from that, many in the horror community have utter disdain for M. Night Shyamalan's work. Sure, in the beginning of his career, he started out with a bang, but somewhere along the lines, it just went down. The Happening, for example, The Village, those were films that are criticized. I did not see anything happening in The Happening myself. In my opinion, Tales from the Crypt should remain where it is. If you want to check out the episodes, find it on the web. Of course, legal sources, not illegal sources. Let me stress that. You could find legal streamings of Tales from the Crypt. Also, you could just buy the DVDs or the Blu-rays. And you could engage on these comical anthology, horror, science fiction stories and narratives that was really engaging during the 90s and the latter part of the 80s. You had The Twilight Zone, The Outer Limits, Tales from the Crypt. This was a great time for horror on television, especially for the anthology series, and this also ties in with what AMC is producing for the future calendar years. Thank you for tuning in to another episode for DecayMag Podcast. This is Season 5, Episode 3, and I was your host for this edition. Tune in next week for our full cast, where we have Stacey Cox and Enid Artuz as co-hosts. Find us on Google Music, iTunes, Stitcher, and across social networking platforms. Do share our content. We're available across Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, but visit our site DecayMag.com, DecayMag.com. And I also emphasize our brand is DecayMag. We are not DK, and we are not DK Magazine. Thank you for tuning in, and we hope to see you in our next installment, Season 5, Episode 4.